Hello and welcome to Project Vayner, episode 91. This is the documentation of my journey as a content creator towards getting a job at Vayner Media in New York City. Once every month, I'm doing a live episode here on my YouTube channel, and I try to invite a guest every time. So this month, we have a young, really talented videographer from Sweden. And he has a YouTube channel that he has grown to over 43,000 subscribers. He has worked with big companies such as Red Bull, PlayStation, and Universal Music. So it's going to be super interesting to talk to him and hear about his story and how he's been able to achieve all of this at the age of 17. So before we jump into the questions, I'm going to show you today's guest.
Med sin väldigt hemmagjorda sparkcykel. Så han har skruvat sönder sin radiostyrda bil och satt motorn här på och sen...
Jag målar listerna på de här hyllorna svarta.
Nu är det grönt, kör.
Det ska bli vitt och svart inne.
Men hur fan håller du pennan? Vi har målat alla luckor.
Tjena och English, sorry.
Yeah, English.
Welcome,
Thank
Oliwer
you.
Alinder, and not Philip Ljungberg, as I wrote in the graphic. Sorry for that.
No problem.
How are you today?
I'm doing really good, and it feels amazing to be here. And I just want to thank you for wanting to have me here and tell people about my story.
Yeah, thank you for joining this. It was it's going to be super interesting. I looked at your channel and heard about what you have done and saw some of the edits on some of the videos. That was really cool. And we're going to show you guys also 2 clips that I've picked out with some examples of what you've done. And I have a specific question about one of the videos also on how you edited that. But yeah, before we jump into that and talk about your YouTube channel, take us back a little bit and tell us about who you are and where you started as a videographer.
Okay, so my name is Oliwer Alinder. I think you could call me a videographer, and I'm 17 years old, come from Sweden, and I absolutely love my job because I get to work with things that I love. That's amazing. That's everybody's dream. And how it all started, it started about maybe like, I would say 5 years ago when I was 12 years old. And me and my siblings have always liked to film videos. So we just filmed with my phone. We filmed videos when we were riding motocross and just making funny sketches. That slowly evolved into something bigger and then bigger and bigger. And then we started the YouTube channel about 4 years ago. And in those 4 years, we have managed to grow the channel to 43,000 subscribers and over 9 million views.
That's crazy.
And I've also started to develop another side. I don't know what you should call it, but I've gone 2 paths. So I have my YouTube channel along with my siblings, and then I also have my own career. And that you can separate them because my own career is more focused on work with other companies, like you mentioned, like Red Bull, Universal Music, famous YouTubers like Jocke and Jonna. And I work with an amazing company here in Sweden. It's called Active Productions, and they're just amazing people.
Yeah, is it located where you live, or?
Yeah, basically, it's here in Sweden in Kimstad.
Right. Yeah, and so you said you started with like cell phone videos. Is that the channel that you mentioned for me before? I think you can say the name of it because I'm not sure about it. How to pronounce it? Say again.
Brumgurk.
Brumgurk.
Yeah, which is a random name.
Yeah, like the YouTube channel that you have. Is it Bongelihej? You say it.
But I think that having a just random and weird name is a good thing because it separates you and it makes people remember the name. Like, oh, Bongelihej, yeah, I've heard that before, because they haven't heard that in any other way than on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and this is the channel if you haven't heard about it before. So some of the videos that you have done there, and I tried to translate what you are doing videos about, and I tried to translate epa-traktor to English. I don't know how to say that in English. Maybe you know.
The thing is, I've also tried to translate it, but
yeah,
I think it's impossible. I just say it's called A-traktor, or it's called epa here in Sweden.
Yeah, and for people that don't know about this, it's like cars that can go just up to a certain speed, and I think it's only 2 seats also.
Yeah,
and you can drive them before you turn 18. So it's like very popular for people between, I don't know, 15 and 18, I would say. So but how did this whole idea with this channel start?
I think that many people think that we started the channel and thinking in our heads like, oh, we're gonna make a YouTube channel, we're gonna get famous, we're gonna make lots of money, we're going to be the biggest YouTubers in Sweden. But that wasn't really what we were thinking. We just wanted to put out our content that we made. Just like I mentioned earlier, that we've always liked to make funny sketches, and that just evolved. And that's the thing that I don't think that many people know, that because social media is a really great tool to develop yourself and develop a passion too. Because without social media, I wouldn't be sitting here where I am right now. I would probably sit in school right now and study really hard to become something like a engineer or something.
Yeah, is that like the way that you have kind of grown both this channel, but also like you as a person, like learning from others and reaching out to others with the marketing? Like, has it been any specific strategy to grow this, or was it more like, okay, this just started as an idea and we're going to do it for fun and then see what it leads to?
It just started as a funny idea that we wanted to put out our content, and then slowly but surely it evolved. And then we were thinking like, okay, how can we make this even bigger? Because we were noticing that people actually enjoyed our content. And the thing is, like, it's just like Gary Vaynerchuk says, just put out content. And then you're slowly but surely going to get an audience. And just be yourself. That's the thing. We've always been ourselves. We're not this perfect guys and girls that are perfect. We're goofy. That's the thing with us.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, because building a false side of you and having to live like that for many years, I think that is not a great idea. I think it destroys you from the inside. And
yeah, and and it's much easier to, I think, build upon that later, because like you're always gonna be the same person, even if you like develop and change and get different interests. It's always you, and if you try to be someone else, then you kind of have to continue faking that
And when you're
So-
doing what you love, the video ideas just comes naturally. Because if you try to do something else, like you try to copy other YouTubers, it's not your own content and it doesn't come naturally. You're always going to find a struggle, making up ideas on what videos you should make if you're not doing what you love.
Yeah, and that's something I really also noticed when I looked at your videos, that it was very like natural, very transparent. It was very documenting. But has that also changed over the years? Like as your channel grows, has it become more of like planning a topic to talk about, or is it more like I'm just gonna pick up the camera and go?
I would say that it has definitely developed into we're more planning our videos. If you compare that to 1 or 2 years back, especially in the summer, we always just picked up the camera in the morning and then filmed the whole day. And we didn't know what we were going to do. Like, oh yeah, let's go here and let's do that, let's do this. Now I'm just documenting it, and I think that's people really like that, and especially when the lifestyle that me and especially my siblings have isn't very common, because we live in a farm out in the country, and we can do almost whatever we want. And I think that it shows through that there's freedom inside of our videos. People want to feel that and see what we're doing. It's hard to describe sometimes. What I don't even have words for it.
Yeah, because I was thinking about like the whole concept, that I wasn't sure if it was like you and your siblings living there, or is it like friends that meet up at a certain place, but it's like a family thing.
Yeah. So it's me and my step siblings. We have the channel together.
Right. And it's like a how do you say verkstad in English?
Garage maybe.
Oh yeah,
But it's a larger garage. You can have big machines in there.
Right. And is it like other people coming there and using that garage as well?
Mostly our friends, I would say. And that's also a great way to create content. Invite your friends. If you think like, oh, I don't have something to do today, just hit up your friends like, yeah, let's shoot a video today.
Yeah.
Use everything you have. You don't have to be famous to start. You just need everything that you need is something to record with. An iPhone maybe. You have yourself, and you also have your family and friends. And that's a great start.
Yeah, and I know you have also some parts in the videos that are really well edited, like with transitions and sound effects and different like effects on top of the video. So I guess that's something that kind of develops over time also, and you kind of step that up. Do you have like any specific background when it comes to that part, or is it just something that you've kind of learned by yourself by YouTubing or Googling?
I would say that it's something that has developed over time, and just like you said, I'm like 98% self-learned from just watching YouTube videos and watching other people create content. And I think that's something to really take notice of, because you don't always have to have a personal mentor or something like that, or go to film school. You can learn everything you want inside of your phone. And I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
You have everything you need inside of this little phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was 12, I think. That's when we first actually got a computer home and got internet. So it's kind of funny to look back at that and seeing like people growing up now that like take internet and internet access and all of this knowledge for granted.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you just have it in your pocket. So
because I've always grown up with technology in my hands, because my two parents are separated. So where I film the YouTube videos is at my mom, and we live in the country. And then at my dad, I live in a big, rather large city. And I think that's also good, because I get so much perspective, and I see, because I don't only live in the country or only live in a city. And I think that's good for people, because you get the peaceful environment when it can be all by yourself in the forest. And then you also have the environment where you have all of your friends, you have restaurants, shops, everything like that. And I think it's good to get more perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I can have I have an input on that also, because like every Sunday, or usually every Sunday, my girlfriend takes me out to like an adventure. So usually go to some kind of national park, and because we live in Solna in Stockholm, like every day I'm like in town, taking the subway, having the store 100 meters away and stuff like that. And then you take like the Sundays, just go out in the nature. It's like a big contrast to everything. I usually try to not check my phone for at least a couple of hours, just to like separate myself from that like day-to-day life. And I think it's something similar you're talking about as well, to like get both perspectives, kind of.
Yeah, because if you don't get both of the perspectives, I think you're going to take things for granted. Like, oh, when I'm at my dad's place, I take for granted that I can just walk 2 meters and then there's a bus right there. But when I'm at my mom's, I always have to have someone to take me to the bus. So I think it's good perspective. That's great.
And I want to go back a little bit about the transitions and all of that we talked about, because I actually have a clip that I wanted to show. Just an example of the type of edit that you do and that you're capable of doing. So I think that could be interesting for the people watching also. So I will show that right now. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
So I saw there are some like light leaks, I think, some speed ramps, a lot of things going on there. Do you want to share anything about like edits like that, like how you're thinking when you're putting this together?
So first of all, you have to get the recording right. I always when I'm doing edits, I want to record in a high frame rate so I can get slow motion. So I record at least 100 FPS. And then as you said, I use speed ramps, because it gives more power to the clip. Instead of just having slow motion like this, it's going up and down, up and down. You can use that to also make more smoother transitions between clips, rather than just having a hard cut. You can cut in a fast motion, and then it will be much smoother. And using light leaks is really good, especially when you have a clip that doesn't have so much movement. So maybe let's say I have a camera right here, and I'm filming on the computer. There's not really so much happening. And then you can add a light leak to get more motion and more interesting picture.
Yeah, and I've used that as well for some like transitions. I think it's really good to just like hide the cut with the
Yeah,
different lights, because then it's kind of like one video, and then it's like the light leak on top of that, and then you're doing like the cut behind it, so you don't really see it.
exactly.
And I think also for the people that maybe are not so familiar with the different terms, so like the frame rate that you talked about, the FPS, just to make it easy, it's basically like the amount of pictures per second. So the higher the frame rate, the more like smooth the motion is. And then when you slow it down, the speed, then it can still look kind of smooth instead of being like choppy if you have
Yeah,
a lower frame rate. And regarding the speed ramps, that you kind of put different speed on the same clip, and then you, like when you edit that in the editing software, it kind of looks like a ramp where it's going from like super fast to super slow, or vice versa. So
exactly.
yeah, I think that's super cool to experiment just those parts, because you can do so much with it and just kind of time it to the music. Do you have like a specific way of thinking when it comes to the speed ramp, like when it's gonna go fast and when it's gonna go slow?
When I edit, I mostly go on feeling, but I have some unwritten rules
Mm.
per se. And that's like if
Oh, I think we lost Oliver. Let's see if we can connect him again. Was a little bit lower quality at the end there, so it might be that he lost the connection completely there. So while we're waiting, feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat. This live stream is streamed on both YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitter's streaming software Periscope. So yeah, any of the platforms works for dropping a question to the guest. So we will see if we can connect him back here. That would be good. We also have another clip I want to show you. Just waiting for him to join again. Okay, he just wrote to me that his computer shut down, unfortunately. But now I think he's back. But invisible. So let's see if he's tuning in.
Okay, I'm back again. I don't know what
There you
happened.
are.
I think my computer died. That's why.
Oh, that's how it is sometimes. Live episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about speed ramps and like how
Yeah.
you're thinking when it comes to that. I guess it's kind of depends on what type of video and what type of song also. But
Yeah.
any like rule of thumbs that you're following?
Don't overuse it. Don't use it on every clip. But I would say that use the speed ramps this to make you want to make the viewers feel something. You want them to feel relaxed, then you don't use speed ramps. But if you want to convey more motion and that a lot of things are happening, then I would definitely say use speed ramps. And you can also use it to hide cuts, because if I have a clip that goes like this, I wave with my arm in slow motion, then I can speed it up and then cut it right there to another clip that has the same motion. But I would say that just consume content on YouTube. That's my recommendation that I give to almost everyone.
Mm.
Because that's the way I've learned, and that's the way I believe in. I think that that's the best way to learn something. Because even if you have a mentor that is the best videographer, he maybe can't answer all of your questions, and maybe he can't give the answer that you want, per se. So yeah, just search on YouTube for the things you want to do, and try to analyze how other people make stuff, and take inspiration from that, and create your own transitions or effects from that.
Is there any specific channels that you're following and finding a lot of inspiration from?
Well, it depends on what I want to do, but I used to watch Peter McKinnon a lot, and then Film Riot. Cinecom is also good, but I would say that the difference between like Film Riot and Cinecom is that Cinecom is more for the beginner that maybe just bought a camera and doesn't have a large budget to make film, and Film Riot is more focused on the more professional side. When you already have a budget, you have props, you have good lighting. So it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, I watched both of them. So I think Cinecom was a couple of years ago, maybe, when I like watched it the most. But I can show the people just a quick screen share so that they know what we're talking about. So Cinecom looks like this. So they have a lot of different good videos, and they have kind of like humoristic touch on it, I feel. Yeah, both Premiere, After Effects.
They are great tutorials.
Yeah,
very good tutorials, especially if you're a beginner, because I think that they're making complicated effects more simple, and they like to do as much as possible inside of Premiere Pro instead of using After Effects.
Yeah, and then the other channel that you mentioned there, Film Riot, is this channel right here. So hope you can see it now. There, now it's full screen, but yeah. Yeah, so some inspiration for people. But I wanted to also show another clip that you've done, and I want people to really pay attention now, because at the end there is something going on there that I think is super interesting that I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
So let's just jump into that clip here.
Ni får se en liten cinematic på det där, va?
Yeah, so first of all, super cool edit.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, and I'm curious how you did that at the end, where it kind of looks like everything was freezed, but you were still kind of moving around, so it was still 3D. It wasn't like photos, I guess. Or do you want to share how you did that?
If we're going to start from the beginning, it all started when I just saw a tutorial when somebody made this I don't know what it's called because I made this video 2 years ago. But I watched someone do this effect and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I want to do that. And that's one thing I want to encourage all of you to do. Is just create content. If you want to try something new, just try it. That's how we're going to develop. Because I can see, even when I look back at this, 2 years ago, I thought this was amazing. And now I think like, oh, maybe I overused the transitions and maybe I could do this. So that's one thing. You're always going to develop. And you're always, I think it's good to look back because then you're going to realize, oh shit, I'm better now. I'm developed. Okay, so back to how I did it. I told my brother that he was going to stay still. So he stayed still like this. And then I walked around, tried to be as steady as possible. And then I just filmed everything. Boop, 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 boop. And then when everything was filmed, I added a PNG picture of a water splash. And then I motion tracked it to the end of the thing he was holding. But that's the thing. That was only one thing that I added, one element. I could have added more elements, but for the sake of that video, it wasn't really necessary. Oh, I remember now. I watched Film Riot. Film Riot was the one who did this effect, and that inspired me to do it. And one thing I just want to say that this was made with a $200 camera. Yeah, like you could. That's almost like it's like 20% of the price of the phone that you have.
Yeah.
Imagine what you could do with your phone then.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool. I'm just gonna drop the channel names in the chat so people know. Also.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So when you motion tracked it, you kind of attached it to the thing he was holding. So when you were moving, the image was also moving.
I made a 3D tracker inside of After Effects. And what a 3D tracker does is that it creates a virtual camera that imitates the movement that your original camera did. So in that way, you can place elements or items. I could even motion track my hand right here and then move it around, and then I could pinpoint something to be tracked to this point, and then it would follow me like a flame, for say, or you could have whatever you want. And that's what I love with filmmaking, that there's no limits. You can be as creative as you want.
Yeah. And I really like the 3D tracking because it's not only like motion tracking that you can do in Premiere Pro, where it's like follows a certain object in a certain direction, but like when it's 3D tracking, it's also like the size and the angle, so it can go like back and forth and like change the size. And so then
one thing that
really
I also
real.
did, because I didn't want the world to be frozen. I wanted to be in really slow motion. So I added a little bit of motion to the water, and I used Puppet Pin tool instead of After Effects to animate it to move slightly. And I think details like that makes the whole effect.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you took like certain parts of like the water drops and kind of moved them so it looks like it was kind of playing. Cool. I need to try this now. Try to learn that effect. That's cool.
Just try it.
Yeah.
No one's stopping you.
Yeah, that's true. And how I wanted to go back to the vlogs that you're doing with the Bongelihej. So is there like a certain way you plan those when it's like more people involved, like or is it more like I kind of asked this question already, but Like
It depends on what we're doing. If we're doing let's say a vlog, then there's no planning involved. But I have almost a system that I work with. So I always start with a normal shot, reality shot, as I like to call it. When they're talking to the camera, say, "Oh, hi and welcome to a new video. Today we are at this place at this time, and we're doing this." And then after that, to make the video more interesting, have a slow motion sequence with effects, timer mapping, film burns, and stuff like that for maybe like 30 seconds to show when they're going from point A to point B. So if we're at home and say, "Oh, now we're at home, but we're going to the ocean," then I film when we're going from point A at home to point B at the ocean. And I want to make it as interesting as possible so the viewers don't get bored by just watching normal clips, like the majority of other YouTubers do. And I think that's really important to not just have content that is unusual. I think it's also good to have video editing that is unusual.
Yeah, and I've noticed, like, the more I create videos, that you kind of learn after a while that there are like specific parts of the video that you often include. So I think that's a really good advice, what you said about like establishing the like environment, the time and the day, what are you doing, and then then it's kind of easier also to follow up on that later and see like, okay, now they are going to do this, and what's going to happen along the way. Because they kind of expect something at the end, I think, also, because they're waiting for that thing to get done. And I also know that you do a lot of like visual things when you're kind of building stuff with the cars, so it's kind of easy to also grab the attention, but also it's easy to show like, okay, we are going to do this, and like point to that, and you can use that as kind of B-roll also when the clip is communicating a lot of things that you maybe don't have to mention.
Yeah, and it's also great to show and not just tell. Because then you can, instead of telling your followers, okay, we're going to do this and this, that's going to be boring at the end. So instead, just compress what you're saying, compress it from here to just a tiny bit, and then the rest of the information, show it instead. Show when you're screwing in the screw. Show them when you're going to the ocean. Show them when you're buying a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Just show instead of tell.
Yeah, and I think also that you have so much like possibilities when you're a videographer to show things in different ways. You're not just like a human experience the world where everything is at eye level and in 100% speed. Like, when you're turning it into a video, you can always transform it into, okay, now I want to double the speed, or I want to see it from a bird's perspective, or I want to have like a drone flying through the forest or something. So do you work with a lot of different tools to kind of vary the different clips? Like, for example, when a car is driving and you're kind of following that car, I guess you're using a drone for those clips.
It depends, but I always try to do new things and find new angles. But yeah, I like to combine, when I'm filming B-roll, I like to combine my camera and the drone and cut between them. Because maybe I'll start with the drone clip to get the whole environment. Let's say that we're in a forest and we're driving a car through the forest. So then the viewers know, okay, we're in the forest and there's a car right here. Okay, what's going to happen next? Then we switch to the camera, and then we're showing more details, maybe from the inside, When the actor is driving the car, maybe some reactions, and just try to get new angles and be creative and go 120% in instead of 80%. Don't be boring. Don't just stand like this. Do different motions. Just try things. If you want to do something, just do it.
Yeah, I've kind of shifted my mindset when it comes to filming from like thinking about the reaction or like the effort that I need to put in or something like that, to just, okay, I'm just gonna focus on what's like the end result, and then like do whatever it takes to get that result. I think when you think like that, then you kind of also shift the way you do things. Like, oh, it would be cool to do this.
That's a great way of thinking.
Yeah,
you need to shoot to edit. Because I always have my editing planned, and that's something that I've developed through these years. So I have almost like a system that I work for. So I start with establish a shot, then a medium shot, and then a close-up, and then I can do whatever I want after that. Because then I know, okay, I'm going to do this, then that, and that.
And I guess then you're trying to communicate different things with the different clips.
Yeah.
Oh. And do you have, I was thinking about the planning part. Is it like, do you kind of have an idea in your head while you're filming, like, okay, now I want to edit it like this? Or is it more like you film everything and then you plan how you're going to edit?
It depends. But most of the time, I have my editing pre-planned when I shoot the video. And that's just something that you're going to develop through the years of being a videographer and a content creator. You're going to develop your own personal way of how you work and how you shoot and how you edit and how you combine these two.
Yeah. And do you, for the transitions that I mentioned before, I'm jumping back to that again, but do you have like a specific like folder where you collect all those, or do you work with like a project folder that you copy to every new project, or how does that work when you kind of go into the computer and start editing? Do you have like a system for that?
I use, when I do transitions, I mostly use presets. Because that's a great way to achieve amazing effects. So I think the pack is called Seamless Smooth Transitions, or Seamless Transitions. And that's a great pack to have. You have glitches, you have swooshes, you have in-zooms, out-zooms. They're really high quality. But when I work, I like to have organized. So I have a map called YouTube. Then inside of that map, I have a map called Bongelihej. And there's a map for every video. And inside of the video map, I have clips, I have music, I have sound effects, and then I have just different material. Maybe I want to have a picture that I downloaded from Google, and I have that in the material folder. So everything is organized. So if I need to go back to that project, I know where to find everything. Instead of just always placing things all over the place. Yeah.
And I guess you also probably had the issue where you're starting a project and then you maybe move the folder or you move a file, and then when you go into the editing software, suddenly your graphics are offline and it's just like a red screen.
Or if you take your hard drive and move it to a different computer.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, where did I put this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something that's really important to learn when you're starting out. Just like the idea of how it's built within the editing software, that everything that is in there is basically links out to where the files are. So when you're like moving the project file, you're not moving all the files in it. You're just moving the project file. It's still searching for the files wherever they are located. So
exactly. So have everything organized from the beginning. That's a great tip, and it's going to save a lot of time.
Yeah. And then when you start like a new project, do you start like a new folder from scratch, or do you copy the last project that you...
I start a new folder, but
Mhm.
I have almost like a template in my head that I know what to include. So as I said, I make a map for the video, and let's say we're doing a video that's called building a house from scratch. Then the folder is called building a house from scratch. Then inside of that map, I have a map with all my clips. Then there's a map with music, and then material. And then you could also have a map for project files, and then a map for renders. But it depends. I usually take those 2 extra steps when I'm working with a client.
Right. And do you also share like clips from the vlogs to other platforms, so kind of reusing different parts of the clips?
Do you mean like marketing the video?
Yeah.
Using social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. But I usually just use the thumbnail and put it on Instagram story. But sometimes if there's something really funny or something that is very interesting, I take that sequence and then I repost it on Instagram. So my audience know what to expect from the video.
Yeah.
Also remind them to watch, because YouTube's algorithm is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have a backup plan to remind your followers that you have released a new video.
Yeah, and I think it's a good tip for everyone that, like you said, they are not guaranteed that they will see your video even if they subscribe. And if you have other channels where people are following you, you can pick certain parts and post them there. And yeah, we also got a question here in the chat from Reframed. So if you finished with one of your projects, do you erase them or do you keep the files?
I keep the files. I keep them.
Yeah.
You never know you never know if you need to go back and redo it or just take a clip from there. So I always keep my files. That results in that you have to buy more hard drives. But I think if you look long term, it's way better than just erasing them.
Yeah, I think the cost for a new hard drive is very low compared to the cost of having to redo everything because you erased it. Yeah. Yeah,
Great
good question. Yeah. And have you like saved anything on like cloud storage, or do you keep everything on external hard drives?
I keep everything on my external hard drives. So I don't know. I don't really trust the cloud in that way to have everything on there. I don't know why, but I just prefer to have hard drives, because sometimes you maybe don't even have internet connection.
True. Yeah, I also think that you get access to the files much quicker because you can just open it right away, because when you have it in the cloud, you have to kind of download it first and then open it.
But sometimes it's better to work through the cloud. It depends on how your workflow is and what the process is. So here at the office, we're planning to buy a server, because we have like 50 hard drives that we're going back and forwards with. And so in our case, it would work much better to have a server and just connect a internet cable to that, to the computer. But if you're on the get-go and you're maybe like, oh, I'm going to sit on the train for 2 hours, It's better to have a hard drive rather than connecting to the train's free Wi-Fi that is super slow and everybody can get access to your information.
Yeah.
It's super easy to get hacked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an important thing as well, like the security part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see if there is anything that I forgot to ask about. But yeah, we could talk a little bit about sponsors if you like to, because I know you have had a couple of sponsors in your videos. So is that something that you have reached out to yourself, or has they come to you, or how does that work?
I would say that it's a mix. Sometimes I reach out to companies and sometimes they reach out to me. And when you start to grow a channel that has more engagement and more interest and viewers, the companies will start just coming to you. But then there's more work when the companies are coming to you, because you have to research all the companies and to know if they're good or bad for your content. But I would say in the beginning, just make almost like a template, and then just send it to all the companies that you would like to work with. And I would say that it's worth the time. Sometimes you get a no, sometimes you get a yes. But you're eventually always going to get that, maybe just one yes, but maybe that one yes leads to another yes.
And what could be an example of the thing that you can provide for this sponsor if you kind of just growing your channel and feel like, okay, maybe I can make some money out of this and I want to reach out to companies, but I don't know what to write?
So start off by telling the companies who you are and what you do. So I start like, hello, hi, my name is Oliver. I have a YouTube channel that is called Bongelihej. And then I just start to tell them about what content we do. So they can, that will make the companies realize, their audience are potential customers for what we sell as a product or maybe even a service. And then after I'll tell them about who we are, I started telling them about different, how do you say it in English? Upplägg.
Maybe, I don't know. Different plans or different concepts, maybe?
Yeah. On how... So I want to bring as much value as possible to the companies. Because if you don't give them value, why should they give you value? That's something you always have to take notice of. So I tell them, we can give you this, we can give you this, this, and that. And what this, and that is that we can have a sequence in our video for maybe like 30 to 60 seconds that we're talking about their service or product. And then we can include their logo. And then we can also have a link in the description to their website. But then you can go an extra step further and say that, I also have an Instagram account with 20,000 followers. I can post a story on there. I can post a story on Instagram with a swipe up link and tell our audience to buy your products. Don't really focus on how much money you get in the beginning. Just focus on developing giving value to them and how you're writing to them. That's the thing I like with being with the YouTube life, is that you learn so much. You don't just learn to make videos. You learn things that is social, like how I could be a salesman Because that's something you learn when you're writing emails with companies. You learn how to selling. How do you say it in English? Sounds wrong to say sell yourself.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but yeah, but I think that's kind of the way you say it, maybe. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like you practice like the selling part and the marketing and the production, and then there's like admin tasks around it, following up on people and sorting files and planning, and so yeah, it's like a whole business basically.
Yeah.
Having a YouTube channel and making some money on it. And I guess it also really matters what type of product or service it is, and that it's actually really matching to the content that you're creating, so it's actually relevant.
Yeah, because if you do cooperations with different companies just for the money, I think that your audience is sooner or later going to see through that, and then you're going to be called a sellout, and nobody wants to watch a sellout because it's just a lot of marketing in the video and not content that it used to be.
Yeah, and it's also, I think it's interesting to think about the different perspectives of it, because it's like it's your part making money on it, it's the company's part of how can they benefit from it, and also like the third corner, which is the viewer. Like, do they benefit from seeing this? Is this something that can help them, or is it just something that's pushed in their face that isn't relevant to the content?
That's a great point. It's really great. Yeah, that's important, to give value to your audience with your sponsorships, and also just engage with your audience. Talk with them, answer their comments. Talk to them on Instagram.
Do you kind of involve them in any way on like maybe suggesting a topic or like asking them about certain things, or
yeah, and that's a big reason as to why we use Instagram, because that's a great way to communicate with our followers. So let's say that we're going to make a video, we're going to make a Q&A, let's say, and then we post on Instagram like, hey guys, today we're going to make a Q&A. Just so ask us some questions that you want to include in our videos. Sometimes the viewers come up with video ideas, and I think they really like to have their own ideas turning into a video that they'll later watch.
Yeah.
So engagement, that's really important.
Yeah,
because the thing with YouTube is that you can separate your followers into there's viewers, there's active viewers, and then there's super fans. And it depends on what you want, but I would rather have fewer super fans than just a lot of viewers, because what the super fans does that the viewers doesn't do is that they're active on your channel. They watch every video. They always like and comment. They repost your videos to their family and friends. They buy your merch. Merch, by the way, that's a great thing to have because it gives more value to your followers, and it's also an income. So that's great. And so this is a good tip for everyone that wants to make a living on YouTube. Don't just rely on YouTube, because you never know when the system is going to poop on you. So have multiple income sources.
Yeah, that's a really good advice. And yeah, if you lose one, you still have the other ones left. So I think I'm actually going to jump into the final two questions of the live episode. So I want to ask you if you want to give a shout out to anyone, and who would that be and why?
I would say that I would like to give a shout out to Konstiga bloggen. Konstiga bloggen is a Swedish YouTuber, and he is also a really great guy that I work with. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting right where I am right now. It all started with that he needed a editor for his YouTube videos. And then I just thought, like, fuck it, I'll give it a chance. Just do it. So I just typed him in Instagram DM, like, hey, I do this and this. I would love to work with you. Then it evolved from just editing his videos to also filming his videos, planning his videos. And now I also work with along with his company, his production company. Has led me to work with very big companies, like you mentioned, Rebel, Universal Music. Yeah, I just that's the person that we want to give a shout out to.
That's great, and those people are so important also.
Yeah, it's very important to have at least one person by your side that always that can always make you a better person and develop.
And see your talent and gives you the chance also.
Yeah. And take the chance. Take the chance.
Yeah. And is there anything that we can help you with? Maybe someone watching who has any contacts or any video that you would like us to watch or something like that?
Was that a question for me or the viewers?
Yeah, for you. If it's anything that we can help you with.
I don't really know. You could help me by subscribing to David's channel and watching all his videos.
That's nice. That's real nice.
But no, I don't really have anything to ask for. I don't really like asking for stuff. I'd rather give instead.
That's some great last words of this live episode, I think. And it's a good mindset for everyone creating content on YouTube to think about that. What can you give? What value can you bring to your audience? So with that said, I want to thank you so much for joining this live episode.
Thank you for having me here.
I feel like it was super helpful and also fun to dig into some details and hear about your edits and how you're structuring things, how you're thinking about things, how you're planning everything from filming to editing to getting in contact with sponsors. So we will update the video description with the chapters later on, so that you can find certain parts in the video that you maybe want to watch again. And also, before we end this, I just want to give a quick shout out to my girlfriend that has fixed this background because I had the idea that maybe it would be fun to have like a little Christmas tree because it's December. So I said that, and she said, yeah, okay, I'll fix this. And then I put this up and decorate a little bit. So yeah, it's a little more interesting than just a gray background, I thought.
Yeah, I just have a fake plant right here.
Yeah, but everything that's green and that kind of reminds of nature or something, I think it's good to add.
Yeah, it's great for your mind. You can't just sit in a small, tiny room with just white walls. You have to have some life in it.
Yeah, that's true. So thanks everyone for watching, and go check out Oliver's channel, Bongelihej. You have the link down in the video description. You can also find Oliver's Instagram link there as well, so you can check him out. Yeah. So with that said, thanks for this time, and hope to see you in the next episode.